Welcome once again to the City of Maple Grove Report. I'm Dave Kaiser from CCX Media. Thanks for joining us, along with Heidi Nelson, Maple Grove City Administrator. Welcome once again.
Thank you.
As you see, a full table of papers today, so get ready for this. We've got a work session to talk about the council meeting on August 19th, which was a rather short meeting, and also quite a few things happening in the city, so stick with us for that update. Let's begin with the work session on the 19th, and the topic is the budget. The process continues on. Where are we in the process, and what were some of the key points discussed?
Yeah, so this is our 2025 general fund budget discussion. We had one work session in early August, and so this was our second budget work session, and we got through all the material and got some good direction from council. It'll come back at the September 16th meeting to set that preliminary levy, and that sort of sets the high water mark. You can go down from there, not up, and so good direction. So some highlights for this budget, some of the big drivers, health insurance costs for city employees. We went out to bid. Our contract with Health Partners was up, so we went out to bid. We've had some pretty high claims experience in the past couple of years. We were running about 134% of premium. So for every dollar we were paying in premium, we're cost about $1.34. So that results in an increase in those premiums, and we're at about a 28% increase in our health insurance costs for employees. So budget impact there about $150,000 more than normal, and in any given year we see that increase around $300,000 to $350,000. So this was edged more towards a $500,000 increase in terms of what the city contributes to that. So I don't know that we're alone in that. I think the cost of healthcare continues to be a concern across the country, and certainly here locally with a lot of cities, and so just something that we're having to kind of contend with. Some other major drivers of the budget, just other inflationary pressures on utilities and supplies, the cost of equipment, when we're acquiring squad cars or plow trucks, fire trucks, those types of things. We are trying to increase some of our budget, our building operating maintenance funds to deal with some of our aging buildings and make sure that we're keeping up with the smaller projects in those buildings and maintaining those buildings. A number of new positions were discussed for this budget. So a code enforcement officer. So this had come through our last goals process to identify kind of the need to make sure we have adequate staff to follow up on code enforcement issues in our neighborhoods as well as in the commercial districts. So this past year we accomplished some of that with more temporary staffing, but this year then the request was to add a position there. Assistant HR director. So we have had a pretty static staffing in our HR department, and lots of new mandates coming from the state there in terms of the earned safe and sick time, and then in 2026 there'll be the new family medical leave and lots of administration and tracking and compliance issues there with making sure we're in compliance with those new state programs. An accountant in finance, again, a lot of more federal level GASB requirements in terms of how the council or the city reports out in the audit and its financial reporting. In addition, some complex projects. So, administering, the sales tax for the community center, the North Metro Regional Public Safety and Training Facility, the PUPS facility. Anytime you have, state dollars that are involved in those projects, the level of reporting and documentation, I think, increases the complexity there. So those are the ones. One more, deputy chief in the fire department. The police department. Forgive me. This is something that we have been talking about for a couple of years now, is adding another layer of sort of operational oversight in the police department to assist Chief Warner. And so lots of discussion about this. Again, was a discussion in last year's budget, and then came back, and the council was comfortable this year following some additional research and study, bringing that forward, and likely more of a mid-year hire in 2025. So those were kind of the general fund dependent positions, and then a couple positions that really don't have a direct levy impact. A new ice arena maintenance coordinator for the new third sheet of ice, and then that gets offset with ice fees, for those users. And then transportation planner, and this would be paid for through our transit funds that come to us through the federal government. But in addition, there's new taxes, a new state tax that'll be distributed out to the cities for transit and active transportation projects, and so this project or position will assist with those types of programs as well. So a number of new positions this year that impact the levy, about $700,000. I think those are kind of the highlights that drove the levy this year. Originally, our proposed levy was about a 7.28% impact. The council direction was to get that down under 7, probably in the 6.8, 6.9 region. So we have a little bit of work to do before that comes back on the preliminary, but you'll likely see that preliminary levy set in that 6.8, 6.9 range, 6.8, 6.9%. So that's kind of where the budget's sitting today. Right. Again, lots of information out there on the website if folks want to go take a look. That work session packet, tremendous amount of detail in there. But again, that'll come back on September 16th to set that preliminary levy.
As you see, a very involved process, and we'll talk more about it in mid-September. To the council meeting now on the 19th, a couple items pulled from consent. The first was Maple Grove Parkway restriping, something that's been talked about for a while. Give us a little background, tell us what happened.
Yeah, so this kind of came about when the County Road 101 project was happening there kind of north of Bass Lake Road, and we had some closures and redirection of traffic, and we put up some temporary traffic control stop signs, those kinds of things, and heard a lot from the neighborhood about wanting to see maybe some of those traffic controls remain, or maybe some changes to lane configurations, that kind of thing. So we did some study and some community engagement out there on the corridor, and this is one of those changes, is kind of restriping some of the lane configurations there as you get towards that Maple Grove Parkway 77th Avenue intersection, and so that will move forward. So this one was just pulled kind of to recognize the work that our engineering staff did to engage with the community out there and kind of hear the concerns, and then bring forward some solutions that'll maybe help with traffic flow and kind of getting in and out of Maple Grove Parkway off those side streets.
Very good. Second item that was pulled, International Overdose Awareness Day coming up in the end of August. Give us a little background here. Yeah,
so August 31st is International Overdose Awareness Day throughout the country, and this proclamation declares that here in Maple Grove. So the recognition is an opportunity to remember the lives that have been lost to overdose, reduce the stigma of overdose, and then reflect on ways to prevent it in our community. Lots of great comments here by Councilmember Barnett, who recognized the Princeton family who's been very active in this process. They lost their son to an overdose, so very close impact here in the community. And then as well as Councilmember Janico just talking about some of the different programs that are out there about the availability of Narcan and the availability of training for that. Our drug take back box at the police department entry is available for folks 24/7. Get those things out of your home so that they don't become a problem for somebody. So lots of layers to this issue here in the community with regard to overdose. It happens more than you'd think. I see it in our shift highlights in the police department quite a bit, so it's a pretty prevalent issue in our community as well as others. And so Maple Grove Town Green will be lit purple on the evening of Saturday, August 31st, sort of in recognition of this day and those that have lost their lives, and maybe those that have been saved as well. So important issue in the community, and good to keep that awareness out there.
Next on the council meeting agenda, one public hearing on the night of the 19th, and that was a on-sale club liquor license, which might need a little explaining. Minneapolis Elks Lodge. So give us a little background on this topic.
Yeah, so this is the Elks Lodge number 44. They are the oldest Elks Lodge in the state of Minnesota. I did not know that. We learned that last evening. But great organization here. So another, kind of community service organization that exists in the community. Their focus, they do a lot of work around veterans and youth in the community. So they had previously been located in Brooklyn Park, and they found this new space here in Maple Grove, just off of Hemlock, kind of south of 694, near the fire station there. And there's Eric's Bike Shop there as well. So we're really excited to have them here in town. A couple of representatives spoke as part of this liquor license hearing about the work that the Elks do in the community. So this was a club liquor license. Jerry Schultz, who represented the club, mentioned that when they first inquired with us, this wasn't a component that we had in our liquor license, and so we had to make an amendment. It's a different type of license when it's kind of this club, like a nonprofit organization that owns and operates that, and so made some tweaks to the liquor license to accommodate them to come to town, and I think they'll be a great addition to kind of the nonprofit scene here in Maple Grove that contributes back to the community.
Any idea on the time frame of when they'll be open and operating?
Yeah, they said the space is ready to go. I know we've been working through, their building permit issues and getting it's an older building, so they had, some things to update and some mechanical issues, that kind of thing. But I would think here coming into, probably September, I think this liquor license was kind of the last piece of the puzzle, and likely see them opening here in the coming weeks.
Very good. To the staff updates, again, a quick meeting on the 19th. First, community and economic development. One item was hiring a new community development manager. Tell us about this process.
Yeah, economic development manager. Yep. So Joe Ammerman has been with us for a few years here and is moving on to a new opportunity. So we're out recruiting for a new economic development manager. And so this is really, an individual that is kind of our boots on the ground with the business community, out connecting with them and understanding what their needs might be for our existing businesses, but also out, recruiting new industry and businesses to come to Maple Grove, coordinating with all of our property owners, property managers to make sure we're aware of opportunities and connecting the dots on real estate deals in the community. So lots of fun work to be had here. This is an out in the community type role. Also, always looking for somebody with good background in the various business incentive tools, tax increment financing, those types of things, and the various programs that are available through the state with deeds. So this position is posted. It's up on the city website. So if you know of somebody who might have an interest, great opportunity here to be really involved with the Maple Grove business community, which is a really fun place to be.
MapleGroveMN.gov will show you that again at the end of the program. Website has all of the information. Next up for the Planning Commission on the 9th of September, a huge agenda potentially.
Yeah, so we've backed these cases up a little bit here. So Elm Creek Vista, that's a small 7-lot subdivision out on the southwest side of town in the Elm Road area. This was before Planning Commission earlier in August, and went back to the drawing boards a little bit on some drainage concerns. We've got a zoning text amendment regarding some garage stalls, a new office building off of 73rd. There is an existing small office building, but they're going to raise that and build a new office building there for the Minnesota Rural Electrical Association. We've got a short plat on subdividing a twin home off of Forest View. Norsk, that's a project up in kind of that 610, south of 610 corridor area. They're making some changes. They had some plans for some multifamily apartments, and then this would change to more of a townhome type product. And then Bella Woods, which is a residential subdivision in the northwest quadrant, more kind of up off of the new Arbor Ridge Parkway 101st corridor. So this is all single family development that'll be coming in up there. So pretty robust September 9th Planning Commission meeting, which then will turn, depending on how that goes, it'll come back to the September 16th council meeting then for council to consider.
All right, we'll be back together to talk about that as well. Engineering Public Works, one item touched on 94th Avenue and Maple Grove Parkway. A little help with traffic there. Yeah,
so lots of that area has been part of our street reconstruction program this summer. So one piece that we were looking at there was sort of that intersection at 94th and Maple Grove Parkway, kind of exiting Sam's Club Walmart area, looking at those turning lanes, the queuing space that's there, wanting to extend that a little bit. We see a lot of left-hand turns coming out of that intersection, and so they're incorporating some of those changes there. We needed to get some easements right away from the property owners from Walmart on either side there, Sam's Club and Walmart. So that's going to be moving forward, and we're going to be able to roll that into that street reconstruction program. So hopefully that traffic will flow a little bit better. They're heading eastbound out of those
is
retailers.
A very busy area.
Yes.
Final update of the meeting on the 19th was your updates, and the first was the State Fair. It's about upon us, and you're going to help people get down there.
Yeah, so the buses are back on the weekends only. Important to remember that.
Right.
We do run our commuter service out of that Main Street, Arbor Lakes, Shops at Arbor Lakes parking ramp there. So we will have express buses to the State Fair that run every 30 minutes from 8 a.m. to midnight on weekends and on Labor Day. The cost to ride is $5 if you purchase your ticket in advance at metrotransit.org. The cash fare is $6 if you show up and pay cash. So I expect it's going to be busy with this service coming back up here. It's been highly missed, and so I think if you're going, come early, and you might have to wait a little bit to catch a bus, but it'll be great to have that service back in downtown Maple Grove.
Very nice. Final note is it's candidate forum time. What is coming up here in the month of August?
Yeah, so we have our first candidate forum on August 27th. This is for House District seats 37A and 37B. Okay. So this is being put on by North Metro mayors, and that'll be in the council chambers, but also on CCX, so folks can watch that back. But we're getting into that season of candidate forums.
That time of the year. All right, that's it for the meeting. Now let's go on to some other things happening around the city. And the first is we've got a holiday coming up, changes things a little bit at the government center. Yeah,
so city offices will be closed, of course, on Monday, September 2nd for Labor Day. And then with that following of that holiday on that Monday, our city council meeting moves to that Tuesday on September 3rd.
We'll show you that note again at the end of this recording. Congressman Phillips, you had a special event with the congressman to talk about some of the things that have been accomplished.
Yeah, so there was a pretty big event in Brooklyn Park held to kind of celebrate some of the community project funding that Congressman Phillips has been bringing home to the district. We have been fortunate to be recipients of that. And a recipient of that, and hopeful to be another recipient going forward. But the congressman was able to bring about $2.75 million to the 610 completion project. So that helped us with some of those local costs of that project. And then we also have an application in for funding for the 169 Elm Creek Boulevard interchange. Right. So hopeful that some of that will come through as Congress works through those appropriations here in the fall. But nice to have the congressman come back to the district and talk with those communities and some of the projects that they've been able to fund. Another big one that's benefited the community was Maria's Voice. They received dollars to bring their awareness education programming to other municipalities, other organizations throughout the district, and so that's been great to see that programming expanded as well.
It is election time. We've got one election to recap for you, and then the next one to talk about as things ramp up once again. How did things go with the primary? Yeah,
pretty low turnout. I think we were in that 8-9% range. Okay. So overall, very low turnout for that primary. Pretty limited ballot here. It was just the U.S. Senate race on the ballot in Maple Grove for the primary. But, it's always a good training opportunity and kind of a dry run for our election judges and our election staff to make sure all the equipment is running well and everything is tested out. So that we're ready, for the next election, which will be a big one, the general election in the fall. We do have 2 council member seats on the November 5th general election ballot. We have 8 candidates overall vying for those 2 seats if they are elected at large. So it's, vote for 2. You'll see that on the ballot. And then we will have an in-person forum that is coming up this fall. Later this fall, we'll have that on CCX, and that'll be live in the chambers, as well as you all do kind of candidate profiles for each of the candidates, and those are available on your website, and we'll share that information out as well. But the city website has lots of good election information, Maple Grove. mn.gov. You can go visit there, and we'll start absentee voting for the general here later in September, and so getting underway here in September with the fall election.
We'll be talking about this at every report coming up here, so stay tuned for more information. The photo contest came to a close with some judging taking place, and again, just a wealth of entries.
Yeah, so 450 entries submitted by Maple Grove residents. The judges met recently to finalize the 15 winners in the various categories. categories. And then they also recognize the viewer's choice photo that garnered the most online votes during the contest. So we'll be recognizing those photographers at the September 16th council meeting.
Great.
And then you'll start to see those photos on the city website, at the government center, and then we use those in all of our publications and social media as well. So just a huge appreciation to the photographers that contributed to that. It really brings kind of the local flavor to all of our communications efforts and being able to display all the great work from the photo contest. So really appreciate all their contributions and look forward to featuring these photos as we go forward throughout the year.
Be watching for them. Let's update on the police online reporting tool. Again, we've talked a little bit about this. Again, remind us what this is and how it works.
Yeah, so this is a new service by the police department. They've introduced an online reporting tool that can be used anytime. This new platform, residents can use a smartphone, a tablet, or a computer to report a non-emergency incident, such as a parking complaint, abandoned vehicles, bicycles, lost or missing property, you know, scams, fraud, that type of thing, property damage, vandalism. This process is not intended for situations that require immediate police assistance. So anything that you feel like you ought to be calling 911 for or getting immediate assistance, that's not what this is for.
Right.
This is almost like kind of reporting something either, you know, after the fact or while it's happening that may not require the same level of response as a 911 call. So always make sure you're thinking about that. We don't want to discourage people from calling 911, but we also want to provide a tool that makes it a little bit more efficient for people to report something to the police department. And then the new system can also analyze data to help the police department identify crime trends and help us to decide, you know, where to allocate resources in the community as well.
All right, through the city's website, maplegrovemn.gov. Business news, a couple updates here. Play It Again Sports. People might remember this name.
Yeah.
It's back.
Yeah, so we're really excited to welcome them to Grove Square Mall, which is just south of Weaver Lake Road and west of Elm Creek Boulevard. They are well known for buying and selling quality used sports and fitness gear, so a nice resource to have in the community as we head into the fall sports season.
Yes, just in time here. Fall activity guide. Speaking of sports and activities, you have an opportunity to get involved. Where can people find that information?
Yeah, so registration is underway for fall Parks and Rec programs. The activity guide and online registration are available on the city's website, and then registration is also available in person at the community center.
All right, here's a couple more ways to keep you busy during these summer days, as it's still nice out there. The first is Town Green, a lot going on. They've got another event coming up end of August. What is that?
Yeah, so August 26th, that's the start of the first or the final full week of entertainment at Town Green. We still have the music performances at 7 p.m. on Mondays and Wednesdays. Kids entertainment offered on Thursday at 10:30 a.m. and then that movie Friday night at dusk. And then we are having one event carry over to September. One of the Mick Sterling Grooves and Foods events that's sponsored by Maple Grove Rotary was canceled due to weather, and so that one is going to be happening on September 4th, right after the Labor Day holiday, and that features the music of Van Morrison. So music starts at 6:30. I think they're bumping up the time a little bit because it's going to start to get darker earlier.
True.
So September 4th for that final then Grooves and Foods event for the summer months.
And crowds have been showing up, so get there early if you want a good seat. Roller skating, once again, is happening outside. Tell us more about this fun opportunity.
Yeah, so we have one more of these roller skating events at Central Park. They are free to the community, free roller skating event Friday, September 6th from 6 to 8:30 p.m. You can bring your own skates or rollerblades, but there's also over 200 pairs of skates in various sizes that attendees can borrow at no cost. So very fun, lots of music, lights, those types of things. Another great gathering at Central Park.
Well, we often talk here about how great the Maple Grove Farmers Market is, and there's others talking about how great it is. What happened recently?
Yeah, so this was a Minnesota level, contest for the Minnesota's Best, and so the Maple Grove Farmers Market won silver in the Star Tribune's Reader's Choice for Minnesota's Best contest. With this recognition, Maple Grove is named the second best farmers market in the state. This is the first time our market has been recognized in this contest, so that's a pretty big accomplishment.
Very good.
So we're in good company with the St. Paul Farmers Market taking gold this year, and then the Linden Hills Farmers Market taking bronze. So we're very excited about this recognition. thanks to all who voted for Maple Grove and the market and being part of this wonderful gathering every Thursday out there. The market does continue here into the fall months, 3 to 7 at Church of the Open Door, and those hours start to get briefed up a little bit as we get into the later part of the fall. Outdoor will remain, into October, and we'll start to get into some of those fall crops out there. But really appreciative of Church of the Open Door hosting this as we move through the construction over at the community center. And congrats to the Farmers Market team for that silver award.
Yes, great honor. And speaking of that location, the community center, some things coming down, getting ready for new things going up. What's happening?
Yeah, so if you've been over by the community center, certainly from the government center side, you can really see a lot of that construction happening as that parking and the park elements are going to be moving south closer to the lake. And so demolition work is underway over there, and some of the earthwork that is going to be happening to accomplish the expanded parking over there. And then pretty soon we're going to start to see some of the exterior work on that third arena start to go up. They'll want to get that up and kind of buttoned up before the snow flies so they can work internal over the winter months. So lots of activity on the community center site. Just know that the community center is open to serve you. Those 2 sheets of ice are going to stay open throughout construction. Know that how you get into the space and how you park and how you exit may change, and so just pay attention as you're driving in to how those changes are happening. There'll be signage and all those types of things, but might need to just slow down a little bit and look around and see how you're getting in and out of the community center.
Very good advice. Let's talk about other playgrounds around the city. Some parks getting some new looks to playgrounds. What's happening here?
Yeah, so we have new playgrounds or replacement playgrounds underway at Nottingham, Donahue North, and Polaris Parks. So this is just part of our routine process to be out replacing playgrounds as they age out of the system and start to have some safety issues. So it's a little bit of work there. They do some site work as well to make sure the foundation is good. So looking forward to those projects getting completed here. It takes about 3 weeks to complete that new playground installation and that site work, and they'll be getting wrapped up here as we move into September.
All right, kids, get ready to get out there and have some fun, and adults get ready to have some fun in the middle of September. Big event happening in the city. What is going on the 13th?
Yeah, so the Maple Grove Lions Club is proudly hosting the annual Rock in the Grove event as again this year. It's a one-day music festival at Central Park, including live music, food, and beverages. Tickets are on sale for Friday, September 13th. This year, Hairball returns as the headliner with Weekend Rock Stars, the opening act. Event info and tickets are available at maplegrovelions.org.
All right, take a look at that and get your ticket early. It is a busy event as well. Heidi, thanks for all the information, for the update of what's happening in the city. Let's leave you with some information about that website once again. A lot of information there about the elections and other things coming up, maplegrovemn.gov. And as we mentioned, next meeting on a Tuesday, September 3rd, 7:30 at the Government Center. For Heidi Nelson, I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks for joining us on the City of Maple Grove Report.